Right. Today I wanted to show off our actual hydraulic press. We've had it in videos before, but we've never actually talked about it itself. We always talked about the boards. So, what it's made from is we've got these Harbor Freight A-frames, these bottle jack A-frames, and these are actually a really good deal. They're just barely more expensive than a standalone bottle jack. We have modified them. It's got this I-beam on the bottom. It used to have an sort of I-beam or a strapping or something in the middle to keep the these two sides from pinching inwards in there and in there as it pulls up. But we use a glue lam in the bottom instead, and so it pinches on the glue lam and then can't collapse. And they are 6-ton bottle jacks, so 2 6-ton bottle jacks, but that does not mean that this is a 12-ton press, because the way it works is kind of the maximum pressure that you can exert is based upon the lowest common denominator. So I think it ends up that you can get just over 6 tons with 2 6-ton jacks. So I think there's like a slight improvement just because they're not covering the same area. Anyway, it's a 6-ton press, even though there's 2 6-ton jacks. Normally there'd be springs here. We don't have the springs. I don't know where they went. They didn't really do the job right anyway, so they needed to be upgraded despite. So I'm just using zip ties for now. But what the springs would do is they'd pull up this entire top glue lam, and as you release the pressure. So this piece stays stationary. It's kind of the bed. This piece goes up and down. And so what you would do is you'd put your cement press or your wooden press in here. The bottom piece down. You put your wood in there. Then you put your top part in. And then you make sure it's all lined up, and then you press it all down. It worked pretty good. Oh yeah, so I want to talk about these glue lams. So these are the other important part of the press too, before I move on. These are glue lams. These are really important. Like I said, they kind of perform the backbone. They distribute the pressure of the clamps from being point loaded here and here across a length. These glue lams are too short for our boards. They were actually too short initially. We'd have about 4 inches hanging off over both sides, which wasn't bad. But now I'm going to have even more hanging off, so we're going to have to make them longer. But the glue lams are just, it's just lumber that's glued together in a stack. So you could actually make glue lams yourself pretty easily, and probably pretty cheaply if you can find scrap wood. You could make it from old pallets even. But these glue lams are actually made from like ceiling joists. You can see up here in the ceiling, if I zoom in, we've got really, really big glue lams. So those are even wider than ours down here. Oh, went too far. And you see, this stack is only this tall. That one up there is probably about 4 times as tall. So those glue lams up there are carrying a lot of weight. So that's how the press works. When we get this back in action, we start pressing boards again, we're going to actually have a male-female concrete press. And so I'm actually going to have the bottom concrete resting on a glue lam, like this one. And the top one I'm probably going to have a glue lam as well. But neither of them I don't think are going to be as thick. Because they just need to distribute the load. The concrete is going to be pretty strong by itself. It just needs something to buffer from these point loads. But I'm going to actually change it so that these springs will be lifting up not just the glue lam, but they'll be pulling open the whole mold. So it'll make putting boards and pressing them in there a lot easier. Because before, like I said, we'd have to put we'd have the concrete, and then we'd have wood, and we have to slide the concrete in on top of the wood because it wouldn't lift the concrete part of the press. So it would just lift the glue lamb, and then we'd collapse it all down and compress it, and it would go. So we're gonna make that simpler. But yeah, so this is actually a really easy to build hydraulic system, just because normally the more difficult part is building the framework that's going to support the hydraulic pressure, you know, because you can't build, you know, a wooden frame that's not going to rip itself apart. And here you can just buy a frame all put together, and it's actually really good because it's so the size between these two, I mean, so the width of the glue lamb and the width of stuff that fits between here is about 10.5 inches. So it's the perfect width for board building. Anyway, so yeah, that's the press. These are just Harbor Freight hydraulic bottle jacks. It's a really cool system. Hopefully it'll work really well once I get it kind of rolling. So, Longboard Technology, over and out. Go make some boards.